all know the famous Wisterides verses in Matthew 27 verses 52 and 53. Right as Jesus dies, an earthquake splits the rocks, tombs break open, and many holy people who had died are raised to life. The text says that after Jesus' resurrection, they walked into Jerusalem and appeared to many. Most standard commentaries treat this as a strange, isolated footnote. They say these saints either lived a little longer and died again, or they just quietly went to heaven. But what if this wasn't a random footnote? What if Matthew is showing us the literal rise of the chief body of Christ? We are going to look at a beautiful, interconnected framework that ties this moment directly to the letters of Paul, Hebrews, and the book of Revelation. The first obstacle people often raise is from 1 Corinthians 15 verse 20, where Paul calls Christ the firstfruits of the resurrection. If Christ is the absolute first, how could these saints rise too? The answer lies in the beautiful reality of the church. The head and the body are one man. In ancient Israel, the firstfruits wasn't just a single stalk of grain. It was a collective sheaf harvested together. When Jesus, our head, broke through the barrier of death, the closest, most immediate parts of his organic body moved with him. Their resurrection doesn't compete with his. They rose with him as part of the exact same firstfruits offering because he didn't die in the spirit. Who were these holy people? If we turn to Revelation 7 and 14, the pieces start to align seamlessly. Revelation introduces us to a highly specific group, the 404,000. The text tells us two critical things about them. They are sealed strictly from the tribes of Israel according to the flesh. Revelation 14 verse 4 explicitly names them as the firstfruits to God and to the Lamb. When we connect these dots, we realize these saints who came out of the tombs in Matthew 27 were faithful Israelites who fell asleep under the old covenant. They were awoken by the power of the cross to become the literal, immediate extension of Christ's body, the chief vanguard of his kingdom. Matthew tells us they entered the holy city and appeared to many. But how did they appear? Think about the post-resurrection accounts of Jesus. Mary Magdalene thought he was the gardener. The disciples on the road to Emmaus walked with him for miles and didn't recognize him as the immediate extension of his body. These resurrected saints participated in that same mysterious ministry. Moving through Judea, they testified that Christ had risen. They appeared in various forms, sometimes as strangers testing people's faith, sometimes appearing like angels, and sometimes so perfectly mirroring the image, the head that they spoke and acted with the very authority of Jesus himself. They were a multi-layered, living cloud of witnesses. If they didn't die again, where did they go? The letter to the Hebrews gives us the stunning conclusion. In Hebrews 12 verses 22 to 24, the writer describes the heavenly Mount Zion that we join in spirit. He says we have come to an innumerable company of angels to the general assembly and church of the firstborn registered in heaven, and to the spirits of just men made perfect. This isn't just abstract poetry. This is a description of that literal assembly from Matthew 27. Their spirits were made perfect the moment Christ's sacrifice opened the way. They ascended with him, and today they constitute the great cloud of witnesses mentioned in Hebrews 12 verse 1, who surround us, standing alongside the angels as an active heavenly vanguard watching over the earthly body of Christ. When you look at the Bible this way, Matthew 27 stops being a strange anomaly and becomes a glorious cornerstone. It shows us that God's plan for Israel and the church is perfectly unified. The faithful of old were not left in the dust. They were transformed into the very foundation of the earthly body of Christ. They rose with the head, testified in his spirit, and today they stand in the heavenly courts as the church of the firstborn.